People up here move down there and work and go, I'm a Cajun from Louisiana. You offend them. You're not a Cajun, you're a Yankee. When they live in South Louisiana in that Cajun country, if you live in Alexandria up, they call you a Yankee. And you're still in Louisiana. So Arkansas and Texas and all that, all of you, all of us, you're not Cajun. So when you hear them talk, it's English, but you got to really listen. And the pastor, when I started 40 years ago going to South Louisiana, he always told me, Brother Robby, if you spell it like they say it, it's R-A-B-B-Y, Rabbi, instead of Robby. R-A-B-B-Y, Brother Robby. You know, it's just different. It's different culture. We have our hunting shows about killing deer, turkeys, bear, duck. They have their hunting shows about alligators. They got a stinking Louisiana swamp, 14-foot alligator, 14 feet, basketball goal plus another 4 feet in a 12-foot boat. 14-foot alligator, they caught. He's still alive. Boudreaux and whoever the other one is. And they got that sucker. That's right, that 14-foot sucker. They got him in a boat with 2 feet of him hanging out of the back of the boat leaning. And he's still alive. And they got a .22 rifle or pistol in their hand. And the one with a little bitty motor back here, like this with the bar on it, little, one of those old motors that you accelerate this away. He's telling the one Boudreaux in the front, shoot him, Boudreaux. Shoot him, boy. Boy, don't let him squirm like that. Shoot him. I can't shoot him and go through him that the boat will sink. Pick up his head, Boudreaux. Pick the boat, get on him, pick his head up, put him outside the boat, shoot. The cooking, the food's different. The accent's different. I love them, but the mentality's different. And every pastor I ever preach for says this to me. Brother Robby, when you hear, first impression matters. With a Cajun, Brother Robby, you're done in it. That ain't bad English to them. You're done in it. You're in a different land. They either like you or they don't. Yes. Love you, you got it made. And Sunday morning, Brother Robby, I asked one of them time at a gas station. Way back, before we had GPS, any of it, we went by maps. Yeah. I said, hey, brother, I pulled over a bunch of Cajuns. Sunday morning, I rushed. I flew down there. Got up at 5 a.m., took off to be there Sunday morning. Crossed the Arkansas-Louisiana line, got down there, pulled up, was sitting on the front of this old shack porch. And I said, hey, you know where the first assembly of God is? One of them said, yeah, I know it there. I said, excuse me, I know it there. I said, you know it there? Yeah. He said, go down there and turn down now. You turn down there, you turn back down. Now, if you go down a little bit, boy, you come down there, you move that, you don't went too far. Come back, make another turn to the left, go down, bit about. God, I didn't know whether to interpret it or not. I was sitting there looking at him. I said, thank you very much. He said, you're not from around here, are you? No, sir, I'm from Arkansas. He said, oh, you're a Yankee. You'll find it. Just keep driving. You'll find it. You'll run into it. So all this trouble, we blame the nature. You know, it's easy to cop out about the Adam and Eve deal. It's easy. It isn't. It's easy to cop out. I've had guys tell me, Brother Robby, I just messed up. I'm committing all this sin because, you know, that Adam and Eve deal, brother. That apple deal, brother. Boy, that apple. God, you're blaming an apple for running around on your wife. You're blaming an apple because a woman 6,000 years ago bit or pulled off an apple. We look so much to our nature to excuse it. What is it that keeps us from becoming the fourth tabernacle? Our nature. I said last time I was here, one of those statements. The nature of man, Adam and Eve, that is now Robby and Monty, Debbie and Sue, Jackie and John. You got to quit passing the buck somewhere.
Amen.
You know why most people in the Spirit-filled churches or doctrine are not filled with the Holy Ghost? You that went to other churches and you that didn't go anywhere. This is your first church ever, about 50 years. But it all goes back to the nature. We have no problems choosing heaven over hell. You know where the blockage is? Why so many of our churches are saved, but not filled with the fullness of the dwelling presence of God? You have no problem choosing heaven over hell when it comes down to dying. That's why you're here. Your problem is choosing heaven over earth. You don't mind choosing heaven over hell. It's going to show up when you take that last breath and you exhale, and there's not an inhale anymore. Your problem now is you got a problem choosing heaven over the things of the earth. Especially in a prospered land called America. Dun, 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 dun. As our great elementary principal said today, when, what's his name, Tank? Where you at, Tank? I got to tell it. Tank's, I'm dying. I'm sitting there this morning. Tank is over here playing. I know what he's doing. Before church, he's at 9:50, 9:45, he's tuning his guitar. He chooses, bum, 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 bum. And our wonderful, over your kids, the elementary school teacher says, oh, he's playing the bombs bursting in air song. He just played the, what is it? The bombs bursting in air song. Blah, 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 blah. And I turned to her, not knowing she is. I said, sister, that was the United States of America national anthem. You see, in 1776, that was a classic. It's 63 years old. I'll never forget you. Help me, Lord. And I looked at her and said, is your family from South Louisiana? And she said, no, Alabama. And so is my wife, Roll Tide. So I'm getting off of that right now, in case this recording ever gets in my wife's hands. Bum, bum, bum. I'll never forget it. I'll remember that as the bombs bursting. At least our sister knows the words.
She sings it every morning.
Sings it every morning at school. That's that song. Okay. Oh. Let me, my time's up. Let me wrap this. There was a difference, and let me finish this. I start off with saying this about the Cajuns. It is funny what I will say right now. It's funny, but it's really truthful. I told my wife one time. She said, "God, don't preach that. That's stupid." I said, "But it's funny." So, you know how husband and wife deal. I told her she didn't laugh much, but I made this statement. Everybody else going to laugh. I'm telling you now, you're going to laugh. Have y'all ever thought, this way my mind works about the word sometimes. I really wish all this Adamic nature deal. I had a thought the other day that I wish Adam and Eve had been Cajuns from South Louisiana. Here's the reason. We wouldn't have all this hellish nature stuff today. We wouldn't have the Adamic nature. It would have ended right there. You know why? Being Cajuns. If she'd have went to Adam, said, Adam, that snake is tempting me to get that apple that God said leave alone. Adam, being a Cajun, would have eaten the stinking snake. Amen. Ain't no Cajun gonna choose an apple over a snake. He'd have said, Eve, I got some good boudin in here and crawfish ain't too bad. Show me that snake. He'd have eaten the snake. Left the apple alone. We wouldn't have all this rebellion in our family. Man, that's powerful what I just said. That's almost as powerful as the bomb bursting song. That's so powerful, I better get back up here. Remember this always. Omnipotence. I got to get this back. Indwelling presence. It's identical to, there's a big difference in the flood day of Noah of being in the ark or hanging around the outside of it, even if you're leaning against it. And I want you to understand this. You're this close, some of you. This is the outer wall of the ark. The ark's on that side. There's Noah and his family. There's 8 people inside on the other side of this wall. They might have even leaning on this side. We're that far apart. But they're in and I'm out. Yeah. We can debate about it and say who's wrong, who's right. They were building it, but they thought he was stupid. They mocked him in front of their kids. But when the waters started rising and coming down and the earth's elements broke, they were sandwiched in between. It wasn't flooded from the rain only. The earth's elements broke and they were sandwiched together. It was flooded from beneath and above. Yes. See, here's my point. Some of you are so close tonight. It didn't matter if they were here or if they were here. Or if they were 50 yards away from it or 10 miles. They wasn't in it.
That's right.
8 of them made it because they were in it.
Yes.
We try to, well, I'm close. I'm almost. When I hear preachers talk about their sons and daughters, and I go, how is your boy lately? And they go, well, you know, man, he's almost saved. And I told one a while back, don't get happy about it. Look at me. Almost saved is totally lost.
Yes.
Now, that don't have nothing to do with evangelism. I'm a born-again believer. I'm a soul winner when I'm not in the pulpit. Almost saved on that day. You mean tell you what, you may act out when almost saved is? You sit here tonight. You mean tell you where you are? Some of your families are over on this side. Here you are. You're in church with them.
Yes.
You know when it shows up? When the waters start rising.
Yeah.
We all wonder about some of you. Really, we do. You go to church, people love you, but they wonder about you. Because they got it. And they don't see much fruit in you. You just kind of show up here kind of like Kiwanis, Civitan, or Masonic Lodge, the old buddies, or the deer camp. You just kind of show up. But you'll never kill a deer if you don't go get in the stand and get your rifle.
Yeah.
Right.
Hanging around the campfire, you're not a deer hunter.
Yeah.
You're just hanging around the hunters.
Yes.
Until you hunt, you're a hunter. You're not a Christian because you show up.
That's right.
You're not filled with the Spirit. You ready? Here's why people say, I don't fully understand. God isn't real to me like He is them. Here's the difference. The wall. You exist in His omnipotence, and you never miss church. You exist in His omnipotence. You operate in the omnipotence of God like an atheist does. The difference is you become the fourth tabernacle, and His dwelling presence comes inside of you. You're that close. Here's how close some of you are tonight. Not quite there yet, but almost. Analogy. I don't know any of you. Say analogy. Give me your arm. Sir, let me borrow your arm a minute. Ready? Your arm goes up. Let's just say He has the dwelling presence in Him. And let's say you don't. Your arm's down. That's how close you are. Your arm with the dwelling presence in you is praising God. On the way down, you sit by this lady, whether you know her or not. And she's not filled with the Spirit. Your arm literally brushes hers. That's how close some of you are to the tabernacle. He has made Himself available to become the fourth and final tabernacle. Analogy, you hadn't. Kind of like the wall. On the other side of that wall, this is how close people are. In the great assemblies of God. Not picking. This is from their general quarters, headquarters. Years ago, it's their doctrine. And they said 50% of our people are not filled with the baptism of the Holy Ghost. And I travel, which many of them in the office don't. And a lot of people on paper say they are and they're not. They send in reports. I'm telling you now, I have a better view of it than the statistics that you take and ask people, are you feeling that? You ready? I'm telling you, it's not 50% of our people the Pentecostal movement is filled. It's way less. There's not 50% of our people filled with the baptism in, not of, in the Holy Ghost. Watch that. Baptism in the Holy Ghost. Not baptism of it. We receive the baptism in the Holy Ghost. Watch the analogy. School teachers. In something and of it's totally different. From Acts 2. Through the rapture of the church, the tribulation period of 7 years, until the battle of Armageddon is fought, and the first second of the 1,000-year millennium reign is set up over off the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem, where we were going. We're going to go. And we'll show you where this is going to happen. We're in the sixth dispensation. From Acts 2 till then, we are in the sixth dispensation, and it's called the Pentecostal dispensation. That is not a stinking denomination. No. It is a dispensation and an experience with God. Yes. Because in Acts 2, the third tabernacle ascended, and the fourth one was birthed. So again, we don't come to a building to meet God. The church house is not His house of the Lord. It's a building you happen to gather in to have church. We are His fourth and house. Yes. We are the fourth tabernacle. We are the house of the Lord. So quit worrying about if a kid runs in the house of the Lord, or chews a piece of gum, stay with me, and even takes it out of their mouth and stick it like a theater or school up underneath the front seat. And we're freaking out. Oh, I can't believe that rebellious little hellion right there, little hellion kid, would take a gum in the house of the Lord and stick it under the front seat of God's seat, the pew. God don't care about that. We drink water in the house of the Lord, but we're not allowed to sip a cup of coffee or Coke. I understand. Hold on. I was worried we might spill it on God's carpet. And the water can dry up. The carpet will stain it. We don't want to stain God's carpet. Stay with me. Wrong mentality. God don't care about if Coke's on it or not. And so we're so freaky and weird about all this. Don't run the house of the Lord, because God's going to have a nervous breakdown. He's going to turn to an angel and say, you see that kid down there running in my house? I can't stand what's happening right down there. They're allowing to happen. But we leave the house of the Lord, and we treat the real houses of the Lord like junk.
Yeah.
We talk about the real houses of the Lord. Some of you might have left since last time I was here. And I pumped this out, this type of stuff to you. And you left thinking you're real spiritual. Watch this now. And you talked about me. And said, oh, God, where did he get him? You had a look on your face like, I thought that. Our bombs bursting in airline.
No, I didn't.
But you might have mocked it. You might have left, and it was nothing but the house of the Lord that was pumping His Word by His Spirit in me out. And you didn't have the Spirit. You know what it did to you, some of you? Bothered you. I'm telling you, man. When the real house of the Lord gets cranking, it'll bother you church folks that aren't the fourth tabernacle yet. We make you feel real uncomfortable, and we can't help it. Your uncomfortableness is the only thing, your discomfort is the only thing that will get you to look into this. Or you'll just keep setting